Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well today. I wanted to do a little video today all about cervical mucus. You hear me about talking about this all the time, but I know a lot of you are new to cycle charting, and some of you are totally brand new. You may never even have heard of this, but I want to let you know a little bit more about what it is and what it does. So if you're charting your menstrual cycles, then one of the things you probably will be tracking is the cervical mucus. And this is a fluid that your cervix produces around the time of ovulation. And it tells us that ovulation is coming soon. Now, we can never know exactly when it's coming, but we know it's coming soon. So anytime you see cervical mucus, that means you're potentially fertile and able to get pregnant. And that's really important to remember. And so if you were only to get pregnant based on the life of the egg, which only lives a maximum of 24 hours, that would be incredibly difficult to have sex at exactly that time. So what the mucus does, which is pretty awesome, I think, is it keeps sperm alive up to about 5 days or so. And it has similar qualities to sperm in a lot of ways. It kind of looks like sperm a little bit too. And that's because it is similar. It's trying to keep the sperm alive in the same way that the semen keeps the sperm alive. And so this is the stuff that you will see in your underwear and is what in the general society is referred to as discharge. But I really don't like the word discharge because it has such a kind of dirty, negative connotation. And also, I really think the term discharge should be reserved for actual discharge. So, when, for example, when you have a yeast infection or an STI or something like that, because we need to differentiate between what is normal, healthy mucus and what's a discharge or when something's wrong or there's an infection. So that's a key thing to keep in mind. Also, we're never taught about this stuff in schools, at least most people aren't, or by their parents. I actually know quite a few people who thought they had recurring yeast infections every cycle, but they weren't. It was just their normal, healthy ovulation discharge, and that's so sad to me. And think of all the time they spend worrying about it and going to the doctor and treatments, and all that could have been saved if they just knew what exactly it was. So hopefully I can help some of you who may have felt that way in the past. So what we do when we're charting is we finger test. So that means we pick it up. So we wipe our vulva, we pick it up, and we try and stretch it because we want to get a good look at what color it is and see how much does it stretch, if it's like a little bit or if it's more than an inch. And the mucus can be, normally it's either cloudy or white color or clear color or a combination of those. Sometimes it can also be yellow or pink or red or brown if there's a bit of blood mixed in as well. And then something important as well is the sensation. So you can have a lubricative sensation, which means it's super, super slippery when you wipe your vulva. And that is also a sign that you're having a mucus day. And the reason it's so slippery is because there's really high water content in your mucus. And so it just feels like a slip and slide down there because it gets so wet. And that happens the closer you are to ovulation, you have higher estrogen levels, and it's that estrogen that increases the mucus and increases the water content. And something else to keep in mind is we differentiate between peak and non-peak mucus. And so the peak mucus is anything with any clear color, stretches more than about 1 inch, or if you have that lubricative sensation. And the reason we want to differentiate between peak mucus and non-peak mucus is because that helps us figure out the day that's most likely ovulation, and then we count 3 more days of fertility after that. Even after the mucus stops, you're still fertile for a few days. And that determining that peak day helps us figure out how to do that calculation and to get back into that post-ovulation infertile phase again, which is important to know whether you're trying to get pregnant or trying to not get pregnant. And another really amazing thing about mucus is that if you understand how to chart it and track it, you can actually learn a lot about your overall hormonal health and well-being. And so depending on the qualities of the mucus, how much you have, what it looks like. You can tell if you're having a healthy cycle or if maybe there's something that you need to investigate and improve your health around that. So it's pretty awesome in that way. Yeah, so that's the basics of it. Of course, it can get much more complicated. One thing to keep in mind is that most people do not have a textbook perfect cycle. So if you have been looking at textbooks or cycle charting methods and they show you what a cycle is supposed to look like, most of us don't look exactly like that. So that can lead to a lot of confusion because people are expecting to see something, but then they see something different. So if you are confused or you're not sure what's going on by your mucus, let me know. Send me a message or write a comment in the comments below this video. I'd be happy to help. Mucus is definitely the number one key thing to pay attention to if you're tracking your cycle because it's the most robust and most obvious sign of ovulation. So just a quick summary, the top 3 things it does is mucus keeps sperm alive to help facilitate pregnancy. It tells you when you're fertile and infertile around ovulation, and it tells you about your overall hormonal health and well-being. So I hope this was helpful. Again, let me know if you have any confusion or questions about your mucus, and I will see you next week. Bye.